Hey, it's your professional sarcastic man and seeker of attention, Chris, here with reviews on The Amazing Spider-Man number 20, The Superior Spider-Man number 5, and Venom number 13. So starting off with ASM Part 4 in Hunted. So written by Nick Spencer, art by Humberto Ramos, and coloring by Edgar Delgado and Eric Arciniega, and Ramos and Delgado as the cover artists. So continuing on, Taskmaster and Lizard's plan to sneak into where Hunted is taking place in Central Park has succeeded, and Lizard heads off to find his son, not knowing that he's currently with Black Cat, who are spotted by one of the Kraven Bots, one of the hunters. And while this is going on, Kraven's son isn't a bit happy with his father. He's not envisioning. What he's envisioned for his father's plans doesn't seem like that's going on, not knowing what Kraven's true plans are. So while all of this is going on, the Lizard meets up with encounters Kraven's son. They get into a brief fight, which ends with the Lizard being defeated within the fight and dragged off so that Kraven's son can kill the Lizard's son right in front of him. And all of this is kind of a jab at his own father himself, as when he's fighting, after he's defeated the Lizard in their fight, he looks up and he's talking about "No, you pathetic fool, you had the power of a god inside you, a totem made of flesh, and what do you do with it? Lock it away, use your corrupt science to cage your true animal self. Choose to be this, a weak, whimpering man of science instead, unable to protect his own family. What kind of man are you? What kind of father are you?" Obviously a jab at his father, but thinking his father is just forsaken being a hunter to appease the ones that he said he promised to get rid of. But we learn that is not Kraven's case, as a lot of people, including myself, would have easily figured out. Black Ant reveals to Spider-Man that all of these Kraven bots lock their users inside of them, and they discover that they've had their fun as the apex predators, but now their prey has become the apex predators, as one of these, if I remember correctly, this was the first person to use one of the hunters, one of the Kraven bots, and he's cornered by the Vulture and his group of all the animal-themed rogues gallery of Spider-Man and whatnot. And if you get killed in the robot, you get killed in real life. So that's Kraven's kind of twist with Hunted. He's given them what they want, but then he's making them feel like this is how the prey feels when you just hunt them, not as real hunters, but just as for sport, for fame, for money, etc. So how does it feel now? Now, I expected Kraven to have a twist there. I didn't really expect it to be like that. I would have thought, still have the whole making them, giving them really what they want, but making them less than human in the process. And we'll leave it there. Story, 4 out of 5. This was a really good issue. We finally figure out and find out not Black Ants, Kraven the Hunter's plans as the story progresses within Hunted. I believe we only got a few issues left. I know we got one more tie-in, and I think one more issue for this, or maybe two. I think two, maybe 3 issues of the main story left. It's only part 4. I assume this is maybe 6 or 7 parts. I'll have to check again. But story, 4 out of 5. I enjoyed this issue. Art, 4 out of 5. Art was pretty good for the majority by Ramos and Delgado and Arciniega. But we get a few of Ramos's weird faces, particularly with Black Cat. Ramos, I don't know why when she screams, her face suddenly inflates, but no, there's some of the typical Ramos looking faces, the Spider-Man's body proportions sometimes. It's just like, hey, it's all like just all of his muscles for some reason when Ramos draws him like this, they all go to his body, they all disappear from the rest. Like the chest gets all of the muscles, all of the mass, the legs just become thin, like average thin, but not muscular. Not like agile kind of muscles. But apart from that, the art and coloring was pretty good. So 4 out of 5 for that. Cover 4 out of 5, but not particularly a big fan of like just the blacked out shadows, like shading on that. You can hardly see Kraven's son at all. You only just see like a glimpse of him like screaming, like mouth open, roaring at the lizard. But good cover regardless. So on to Superior Spider-Man. Number 5, aka Otto tries to be a normal person. So with Anna Marie's help, Otto is trying to, as I said, he's trying to be a normal person, and he's kind of jumped the shark and has gone straight into a date with Emma, one of his co-workers, and he wants to be honest with her. He doesn't want to hide anything from someone who could be a potential love interest. So straight from the get-go, after dinner, after dessert, after drinks, and before the fun can happen, he tells her, "My true name is Otto Octavius," and she handles it as well as you think, runs straight out and goes to tell the police, but they turned out to be demons, and Emma herself becomes possessed as well. And Otto is not particularly equipped well to deal with the supernatural, so he's going to need help from another person in another doctor, Doctor Strange. He calls for Strange's help. Strange, thinking that Otto is still evil, but until he sees the demons, they temporarily allies himself with the Superior Spider-Man and learn that all of these demons are being brought forth by Master Pandemonium, and I'll leave it there. So, story by Christos Gage. I always get that name weird. Sometimes I say Cage, but story by Christos Gage. 4 out of 5. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for what it was. It was good, and we're seeing a bit more of Otto trying to be an actual hero, an actual just normal person, not just ego. Art by Mike Hawthorne and the coloring by Jordi Belair. 3.5. So it's good for the most part, but sometimes there's some off parts, like just Otto's face. Otto, are you okay? Are you constipated? Please let me know. I need to know, because constipated, stroke, I have no idea what's going on with that face, but it scares me. But for the, sometimes the faces are a bit off by Mike Hawthorne, but it's good for the most part. Cover 3.5, not a bad looking cover, but really doesn't particularly have much to do with with the story. Kind of a bit, but not particularly that much. But it's an alright cover regardless. And onto Venom, one of the War of the Realm tie-ins, the first of the War of the Realm tie-ins for at least for this issue. And Cullen Bunn has taking over for the meantime, while Kate is on other stuff, Guardians and Silver Surfer soon, and working on Absolute Carnage. So for War of the Realms, Cullen Bunn returns as Venom, and it will be writing the story. So yep, written by Cullen Bunn, art by Ivan Coelho, and colors by Andreas Moser. So the War of the Realms has happened, and Eddie and his son, who doesn't know that he's his son Dylan, are on the run. Eddie's trying to protect them from all of the threats and horrors of the other realms, and he heads to Rex's safe house. Rex, the symbiote from the first story arc, but they find some dark elves attacking people there. Eddie is able to deal with them, and this garners the interest of one of the dark elf witches, who in the main series are blocking any attempt of escape, both magic or science wise. So one of them is interested in Eddie and gives him a Dreamstone so that he could power up into not Venom, into a Dreamstone Venom. You know, I like. It's not a bad looking design, for the most part, but you know, I've seen better. I will say Agent Venom is still the best looking Venom suit, I guess. I think just design wise, it looks better than just standard Venom by itself. So Eddie becomes Dreamstone Venom. That's just what I'm going to call him, since he's not actually with the symbiote, who's gone off by itself. And the sister believes that since she's given Eddie what he wants a way to fight, to be Venom again, to protect his son. He's going to work for Malekith. You're wrong there. Eddie's not. And he bites her arm off and heads off to fight in the War of the Realms. And I'll leave it there. There's a return of another character that from Venom's past. I'll let you guess who that is. They'll probably have a role to play later on. But I'll leave it there. Story, 4 out of 5. I enjoyed it. It's a pretty good story. Not particularly a kind of a tie-in. It is still a tie-in, but it doesn't really have much to do with War of the Realms yet. For Venom overall, you could probably skip this arc because, like I said, it's not written by Kate, so it probably doesn't have anything to do with the grandest scheme of everything leading up to absolute carnage. But I enjoyed it for what it was. So yeah, 4 out of 5 for the story. The art, 4 out of 5. Definitely the action parts were really good, especially with the art and the coloring. By who was it? Colio and Mosa, who did the art and coloring. Pretty good. Definitely with when Dreamstone Venom appears, I definitely like the art there, especially when he heads off to fight to join the rest of the War of the Realms to protect people as the lethal protector. Cover 4.5. Cover was by, I didn't say who the cover artists were. The cover by Ryan Stegman, JP Mayer, and Frank Martin. 4.5. I only say 4.5 because this doesn't happen. No, no actual Venom wielding a sword, fighting what seems to be I'm going to assume a dragon of some sort, some monster. It doesn't happen. Fake. False advertising on that cover, but the art and coloring on it is really, really good. Hence the 4.5 out of 5 for that. So that is it for those Spidey themed reviews. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all next time.